Alrighty, let's talk about a few musical symbols. First notable one is the fermata. So the fermata is this kind of upside down half circle with a dot in the middle. It means to pause or to hold. So any point in the music, you might have a note and then you'll have a fermata on top of it. So you want to highlight fermatas because they're important because they stop or hold the point in time of the music. And this is about making sure that the accompanist is clear on how your music goes. So you don't want them to barrel through a fermata because that's just functionally not what happens. So let me know if you want to know more about that. But let's delve into del segno and codas because this can confuse people a little bit. Basically, let's say your music is one long line that goes from left to right. Okay, you got the start. Let me make this a bit smaller. You got the finish. Great. Now, the player is moving along. Okay, the music's playing, whatever, start to finish. At some point, we get a symbol that says DSL coda. Okay, to break that down, DS, del segno. Del segno is something like the word sign. Del is like to the or at the or something like that. Coda. So effectively means go back to the sign. Part one, go back to the sign. And then the next time you see the word to coda, go to the coda. So part one, you're going to go back to the sign. The sign's not always going to be at the start. If it's at the start, it'll say del capo and there won't be a sign. Del capo means go back to the beginning. But if it says del segno, which most music does, it's going to look like this. The symbol's going to look like sort of like a dollar sign with a few dots. It doesn't really look like what I've just drawn, but it's similar. Basically, what that means is that we are going to go all the way back to the sign, and then we're going to play the music again. Now, usually there'll be lyric differences or something like that. But at some point, you are going to see the sign, or see the words, to coda. At that point, I'm running out of colors. I'll keep the purple. Now I'll do a little pink. At that point, the accompanist and the music jumps ahead to the coda and then keeps on going. That's a nice visual representation of looking at codas. It's not as complicated as probably it feels. Coda is effectively the end. DS al coda means go back to the sign, play it again, and then when you meet the words to coda, jump to the coda. So you'll find it in a lot of places. Just whilst I'm here, and I'm not actually sure it's actually in my music, but likewise, when you have your music from start to finish, oh, that's a big boy. Start to finish. Sometimes you have first time and second time endings. So you'll have first time, it kind of looks like this. It's got a little 1, and then you've got a second time. It's got a 2. I'm realizing this visual is not the greatest, but that's okay. So you play up to the end of the first time. You'll see 2 thick lines with a dot, and then you make your way back to the beginning, or wherever the 2 thick lines are here, and then you play again, but instead of going to the first time again, you jump ahead and you go to the second time and you just keep going. So the first time creates one loop, and then the second time is a second ending, which then goes to the second time ending. Okay, so they're just 2 repeats with 2 different endings. All right, so moving on to what these other terms are. Con la voce means with the voice. Really important because that actually means that the accompanist is following you. And if you just say that to the accompanist, that's all you need to do. You don't need to give tempo for a piece that's con la voce because the accompanist is just following you. You set the tempo as you go. So it's kind of a waste of time to actually go through and sing through a con la voce section unless it's really, really tricky. Rel or rit is to slow down. A tempo means to return back to the initial tempo. And then I've just got a few notes on the website about staccato slurs and caesuras. One of the main important one is a caesura, also known as tram tracks, and they look like this. It actually, the music's going, tram tracks, it just stops. It doesn't pause, doesn't hold. It's like someone's taken scissors and cut through it, and it just stops. Then at some point, there's going to be something that tells me to move on, or tells the accompanist to move on. Really important, because if your accompanist plays through the caesura, also known as tram tracks, then your music won't stop the way you want it to. So something to be mindful of. There's a few other bits and bobs on this page around BPM and time signature and finding out key signatures. I won't go into detail too much unless you really want me to. But have a read through. There's a few tricks on how to find out what key your song is in, if it's in a sharp or a flat key. And yeah, just leave it there.